Welcome to the Running with James podcast. We are committed to helping runners, OCR athletes, and the everyday person get involved, get connected, and get committed to becoming the best versions of themselves. Remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. Now here's your host, James Wyatt.
And welcome back to another edition of Running with James. I'm your host, James Wyatt. And today we're joined with our lovely co-host, Lauren.
Hi.
Lauren Inman.
Hi.
Everybody, Lauren's in the house.
I am in the house.
And we have a special guest as well.
Very excited.
Don Carlito.
Second appearance.
Yes, this is his second occurrence. And I feel like a couple of reasons I wanted him to come on. First reason simply is I'm tired of talking to Lauren by myself, and I needed some help. I've been on my best behavior, and I have been very nice, and I need someone to come in and help me because I can't take it much longer. I'm about to lose it.
You made me sound like such a problem.
Not a problem. Just a handful.
I'm a lot.
You're a handful. That's a good thing.
I'm a lot of personality.
There it is.
I'm a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, a lot of personality, and I'm really boring.
Just to clarify, is this like I'm supposed to be nice too, or is this?
No. You can be mean. That will,
You get
yes.
to be however you,
Yes. Yes.
however
yes.
you see fit, my
That's
friend.
right. So,
I roll with the punches, physically and metaphorically.
no, ma'am. So I wanted to bring this up, guys, because people have been asking me. People have been like, not hounding me, but like I'll see people out in the streets. You know how I'm running them streets?
Out there
in them streets, and they're like, "Where's Rocky at? Where's Rocky been?" And quite simply, guys, I wanted to let y'all know where Rocky's been. So Rocky is no longer on the podcast anymore. Mm-hmm. He has moved on to bigger and greener pastures. In fact, he started his own podcast.
He did.
Yes. Lauren, tell him a little about that podcast because we want to share what he's doing because we want you guys to support him.
Yes, we do. We want you to support Rocky. We hope that the new podcast is very, very successful for him and his sister-in-law.
Future sister-in-law. There you go.
Future sister-in-law, Miss Sienna. It's Rooted and Rising. So you can find it on your streaming platforms as well. I think they are going to be covering all things about inspiration, being a good person, and
yeah, I have no idea what it's going to be about, honestly. But whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be good. Rocky's a part of it. So go support him.
Uplifting.
Check it out.
Stories.
And let them know. I'll be listening to it, so maybe later on I can tell you what it's about. But right now I can't.
They literally are just starting it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we're not deep in enough to have a ton of intel yet.
Right.
But from what I've seen, it's going to be all about inspiring stories from others to motivate.
Right. So as far as I'm concerned, Rocky's always going to be part of the family.
We love him.
So anytime he wants to come back on, he's more than welcome to. And so I would say for the interim, for now, I think Lauren and I are going to be holding this down because I think we do a really good job.
I, for some reason, thought you were going to say Lauren's going to do the rambles, and I was,
No, we're not going to do that.
No.
That's Rocky's thing.
Those are shoes I don't.
But we might have a few more guests on just to mix it up. We've got some guests in the pipeline. And today we've got our friend Carlos here. He is not just our friend, but he's also one of the coaches here at BC Fitness. He's one of my athletes. I coach him. Been coaching him for a little while as well. And he's a man. And
So the numbers are back where they were.
All is right with the world.
All is right. Instead of it being just 1-1, it is now 2-1.
Right. Because how do I say this without offending every woman that listens to this podcast?
Just say it.
The other day we were in class. You weren't there.
Okay.
And it was, I don't remember what night it was, but it was one of the evening classes.
It was Wednesday night. I already know what you're
And there were probably about 18, 20 people in this class.
Big class. Mostly women.
Of which there was maybe 4 guys. So whenever there's less than, 5 guys, 6 guys, and we've got low T going on, because that's a lower testosterone level. The estro level is much higher. They tend to be a little sassier, a little mouthier. And one lady came up to me and was like, James, you need to talk about menopause on your podcast.
She was not that assertive.
Yes, she was actually.
I didn't.
You were nowhere near her when she yelled at me. And then I was like,
her voice carries. You can hear it.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm an expert enough on it. I mean, I've gone through it.
Yes.
Not personally, but personally. I'm a survivor. Yes, that is a perfect way to put it. Yes, I'm a survivor. But I don't know if I'm an expert enough on it to really. And how do we twist that to make it about running or fitness or exercise, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Like
it's
what angle do we come from? So she's like, oh, well, I know a nurse. Like, okay. So she actually has been texting me nonstop about some friend she has who's a nurse who's gone through menopause. So I'm still like, it doesn't really work. And so here's the best part. I was like, all right, fine. Since all my members are women and they're so concerned about menopause, right? Because they're all at menopause age. How many of the people in this classroom right now, how many of y'all listen to the Running with James podcast?
Oh, yeah, that was a little unfortunate.
And like 3 people raised their hand, and the rest of them looked at me like, what's the Running with James podcast?
Yeah.
I was like, and here's the best part.
Yeah.
The young lady who was asking about the menopause episode didn't even raise her freaking hand.
That is true. And so that was hard for me to like support her after she said that. I was like, I can't help you now because you've already dug yourself a hole.
Right. So I'm not opposed to talking about menopause. I'm a brave man.
very brave.
Oh my God.
But I am not, like I said, my expertise is not in it, right? Other than now, if I came from the angle of men, here's how to handle your woman when she's going through menopause. Or here's some ways you can help her get through. Maybe I could handle that one.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've been on that side of it, right? Just like I couldn't tell you the strains of birth, but I could tell you the strains of a man during a woman's birth.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I like how Lauren is over here like lowering her head back. Like she's been through birth before. Like she has experienced it.
No. Just the gall to say that the things I've been through when my wife gave birth.
Yes.
We go through stuff, dude.
I know y'all
there
go through
is an
things, but it's not the
experience.
same thing.
I didn't say it was the same thing. I said that's why I said I very specifically said what guys go through, not what women go through. You've gone through neither one of them, so you don't have a voice in this room for this subject.
I have the equipment. So
But you've never used it.
I stand for the demographic that has
No,
the
you
equipment.
don't. We would need my wife or his wife.
You've been on the same side of birth that all 3 of us have in this room.
Actually, no, she hasn't even been on the side we've been on.
Well, I meant like we've been birthed.
Oh, yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's the only thing.
that's
You've
where
gone
we-
through the canal, maybe.
Yes, you've gone through it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It could have been a C-section. I don't know. So we're done with birth and menopause talk, guys. I promise. So, but either way, I just want to let that individual know, unless you find me a real expert, or if there's someone listening right now and you want that episode, find somebody that's an expert. We'll bring them on and we'll talk about menopause and fitness. How do you overcome being hot and cold at the same time?
I think that would be a great episode.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
Because that's another thing that you've never experienced before, and you're an expert.
One day I'd like to know.
And probably sooner than you think.
Don't be mean.
How does that mean? You've just offended every woman that's gone through menopause.
Sometimes it's early.
Yeah, my wife went through it. My wife went through it pretty early.
I'm very afraid because I have friends who've been through it, and it sounds like it's not fun.
I don't think it's any worse than what you go through all the time anyway.
I don't know.
Right?
I'm afraid.
4 coffees deep.
Yeah.
This is only my second, sir.
Oh,
but
at
thank you
that.
very much.
Look
I'm
at that.
making changes.
She is. I've been really proud of her lately.
I'm really making effort. I'm drinking decaffeinated tea in the afternoon.
Okay.
I've been proud of her. She's been stepping her game up.
Trying really hard.
And I've been also trying to work myself on letting her know when I see that she's doing better.
I wear trousers to work.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah. Somebody was really confused when I answered the door and I was not in like gym clothes. They're like, "What are you doing? Where are you going?"
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to my desk right over here in the corner.
I saw you when you walked in. You only had like 2 water bottles, and
And her level of stress was like only at a 7 instead of a 10.
7. It did not look like she was just chased in.
We're
by-
making steps, not strides, people.
That's right.
Steps, not
Okay, so-
strides.
Hey, man.
So I,
A little bit at a time.
I applauded her. She looked very nice.
Yeah, I've been
Trying
proud of
really
her. So I did see something interesting the other day that has nothing to do with menopause women necessarily or people tweaking on freaking caffeine. But have you guys noticed, because Lauren just got back from High Rocks, Vegas.
Yes.
She went and raced in Vegas. Big event.
Fun event, yeah. A lot of people.
A lot of people.
Huge.
3-day
amount.
event, right?
2-day.
Oh, it was only 2.
Well,
oh, no,
so I
because
guess
they did
it was
elite.
because they did the elites on Friday.
Yeah,
You're right.
okay.
3-day technically.
So, and there were a lot of CrossFitters there.
A lot of CrossFit people.
Like
I saw
CrossFit Games people.
No, I saw some big individuals.
Yeah, like Matt Frazier was there.
Matt Frazier was racing next to one of my friends. They were looked over, and I think they got a little starstruck mid-race.
Yeah, the dude whoever, I don't know his name.
Partnered with Dylan Scott.
The guy who won the CrossFit Games last year was there as well.
Yeah.
He's 2024 champion.
Oh, I know Justin something. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
The gentleman that partnered with Dylan Scott, he was a CrossFitter. He's huge.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
huge.
So CrossFit was in the room, and I think they're curious about High Rocks,
Yes.
right? Because it's blowing up.
Yes.
But what I've noticed a lot of on like the social media feeds is like I feel like the CrossFitters are a little threatened because they're making fun of High Rocks a lot. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Oh no, I see it all the time where CrossFitters, like how CrossFitters see High Rocks, and it's like people running with like weights all over here to the side.
Or like there's like how High Rocksers do heavy weight, and then they've got like a 10-pound weight in their hand, and then the CrossFitters got like a barbell loaded up, or how High Rocksers do wall balls, and they've got some, and they'll show a video of somebody in a High Rocks competition. They should be getting no repped left and right.
They pick the worst possible like example on purpose,
right?
And it's
obviously,
like, well, we know this person's doing it wrong, but you know.
So they're like, they never go to depth. They don't do this. They don't do that, right? And then I did see one guy who was like a CrossFit Games competitor, and he was on some podcast, and he was talking about, he was actually being not negative. He was being positive. He's like, the thing about CrossFit is that it's, you have to be ready for anything. So you got to be able to do a handstand. You got to do gymnastic movements. You got to lift heavy weight, right? So you're constantly working on all these different things so that you can be prepared for anything. And the thing about High Rocks is it's very specific, right? You can always, you know what's going to be every time, so you specifically train for it. And if you specifically train for something, you're going to be really good at the thing you specifically train for.
You would think.
And so he was saying that the High Rocksers should be better at the High Rocks competition because that's specifically what they're training for. See, he was on the positive side, and I agree with him specifically on that, or very equally with that. But I just find it humorous is like when people start to see something become popular, and maybe it's approaching or maybe even overtaking your popularity, your way to like combat that is by insulting them.
Like that big brother, little brother syndrome. You know, now that little brother's coming up. It's like, uh-oh.
You got to put little brother back down, right? So I think it's funny. It's just like, I mean, every modality, every movement that you do, no matter what it is, whether it's, cycling or, if you're into,
Ironman
or Zumba or, CrossFit or OCR, or you're into High Rocks, right? Not every gym is created equal. Not every coach is created equal. There's tons of CrossFit coaches and gyms out there that are not good coaches, and people are always injured, they're always hurt, right? And same thing, and they're not doing the form stuff right. They're jacking people's shoulders up and everything else. But then there's also ones out there who are changing people's lives, for the better. And same thing for High Rocks. So I think High Rocks is just much more approachable because you don't have to have a gymnastics background. You don't have to be like, be able to do all these different Olympic lifts. But what's funny is the majority of people that are really good in High Rocks are doing all those movements.
Yeah.
Right? Even though they're training specifically for those 8 specific stations, they still are doing other things, right?
Yeah.
So you do other stuff than sled push, wall balls, and lunge, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Stick with the basics, the basic movements, deadlifts, pull-ups. Sometimes it's been a while. I like doing snatches every now and then. Nothing heavy, but just to kind of warm up, to keep the shoulders loose.
Couple, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, we were doing handstand stuff, right? I was working on some muscle up stuff with some people, right? So it's just all about being a good athlete, and we've picked this particular discipline because we like the community and we like the atmosphere. It's very inclusive.
Yes.
And it's very approachable.
Agreed.
Goes hand in hand with the running.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Which the CrossFitters were very specific about. That's all we do is run, which I find humorous because most people who are doing High Rocks are not doing a lot of running.
No, they train
Most of them.
They train like
No.
CrossFitters.
Yeah. No, like definitely the majority of people I talk to who do CrossFit, unless like you said, unless it's the people who are very, very good at it, like they're kind of closer to like that pro status. Like those are people who are training the running. They've got it down. But I'd say your grand majority of people who are getting into it, they still like don't want to do the running. I know so many people who I talk to and I ask them like, well, how often do you run? They're like, well, I run three times a week. I'm like, okay, so what's your mileage? They're like, well, I think in the last like 3 months, I ran like a total, in the 3 months, I ran like a total of 20 miles. I was like, oh, that might be why you hurt a lot, but okay. And so,
I think that's the majority of people.
yeah.
A lot of people I talk to at other gyms, I do run, and then kind of like you said, 20 miles, in a couple months. Like, I think me and James always talk, we're in this world of BC Fitness where everyone runs. So
Yes.
we're all in run programs,
Yeah.
and, we're all 10, 20 miles a week or even more, 30, 40. So it's, very common here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think you're exactly right. When it comes to once you're doing something or you're in that world, it almost seems like it's common knowledge that this is what you should be doing.
You would think.
But then when you talk to people who are new or they're not around that environment a lot, you realize that that's not actually, that's the exception to the rule, right? That's the difference, right? And so with that being said, you know, as a coach, I do the same thing for the most part, day in, day out. Right, I'm very repetitive in a lot of the things that I say and do. Right, I mean you've seen me or heard me in my meetings.
Oh, I love listening in on the meetings.
Right,
I don't intentionally do, but sometimes I do.
But it's pretty much I'm always saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a script.
It is almost. It's almost like a script, and I'm also always addressing the same things.
You really are.
Right, I'm
it's
always.
funny.
It's like it doesn't matter if a different person. It's pretty much always the same issues that everybody has. Right, and so you know it's very consistent and. The other crazy thing is the people that adhere to it, right, and stick to it, you can see, like, you see the differences, you see the gains, you see the increases, and the people who are like, they have like one toe in, you know, they're like kind of partly doing it.
Not committed.
They're not like fully committed to the training, like they struggle, right, or they don't improve at all, right, or they get like some gains in the beginning, but then all of a sudden they plateau because they're trying to do too much, right, and so it's like, and they're like. It's almost they're like it was your fault. I'm like, well, actually, it's not my fault because you actually hadn't even done what I've told you to do. So, you know, let's not play the blame game. Let's see if we can try doing it the right way.
Point those fingers. Let's turn those fingers around.
Yeah. Whenever you point at someone, you got three pointing back at you.
It's a lot of people don't realize that the discipline is to run slow.
Yeah, yeah. The easy volume stuff.
Yeah, it's just you've heard all the excuses. No, the treadmill was going too fast.
Mm-hmm. I just couldn't get my heart rate under control. Well, that's why you slow down. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I guess I'm just so stressed today. I just couldn't get my heart rate under control. I was like, but you didn't slow down. If I go any slower, I'm going to walk, James. Okay, walk. I don't have time. Those are like always the go-to reasons. And I'm like, you know what, guys, I've never heard this before. You're the first one that's ever told me this one before.
This is totally like
this is so new,
groundbreaking.
And what I think is actually one of the funniest things is like, you know, usually on Saturday. So Carlos runs with us a lot, most of the time on Saturday morning with our long runs, right? So when we run on Saturday morning, what would you say is our range of running, right? So slowest to like maybe the fastest.
Like a mile pace?
Yeah.
I'd say anywhere from high 10s to 11s.
Okay.
And then
Chill.
sometimes when Jess takes over, we're getting in the 9s.
Yeah, that's right. If somebody lets her in the front, right?
She's in the front, we're in 9.
But usually,
20.
yeah, we might even go as slow as 12 sometimes, right?
No,
like depending on
absolutely.
like what the weather might be like or who's with the group, right? So like a lot of people, they'll come in and they might be at like 11 or 12, right? Or they might be at a 10:30 or 11, and their heart rate's too high, and I'll tell them to slow down, and they're like, if I go any slower, I'll walk. And I'm like, well, actually, I was running slower than that on Saturday, and I wasn't walking, so you can go much slower. And I have some athletes that they've had to slow down to like 17-minute miles, but yet they're still doing a running motion to get their heart rate down. And what's crazy is now they're not doing 17-minute miles when they're doing their easy pace. Now they're doing like 13 or 14. Now, some people are probably like, oh my God, that's so slow. But they were doing 17.
Now look where they're at.
Now they're 3 or 4 minutes a mile faster just because they slowed down. And if they keep that progress up, what's going to happen?
Getting faster.
Right. So,
And their heart rate stays where it should be.
right. It stays a lot of times it keeps going down, right? So their aerobic capacity is building. So what I thought might be interesting, and I think honestly this was Lauren's idea a while back that I just kind of had put in the queue. And so Carlos had reached out to me because it was time for our meeting. So I thought what we could do, and it may be interesting, it may be a flop, I don't know. But I thought what we could do is we could go through how we do a coaching session. Like some of the things we talk about, and maybe that information can help you guys realize, okay, number one, he's probably going through the same things I'm going through. Carlos, I've been coaching you now for
4 or 5 years.
yeah, at least, right? So,
Yeah, somewhere around there.
so remind me, what was it that brought you to BC? Like, what brought you to because we were doing OCR in the beginning, like trying to run better OCR, right?
Yes, I was just getting into kind of Spartan races, doing like age group. I was loving it, kind of trying to get competitive, and I was just, nowhere near on the running. Like how these guys running so fast.
Right.
And so I think I just did a search, and I came into BC Fitness, and I actually saw the picture of you, and I kind of remembered you. I was like, oh my God, that was that crazy guy at the race that was a stadium race,
Mm-hmm.
and you were doing it with a vest on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was dying, and I probably my head would explode if I known that was your second time to do it.
Yeah, we did it. We raced.
Yes.
And then we did it with everybody for fun, like all the team.
Yeah.
And so like me and a couple guys wore like vests.
Yeah, I vaguely remember I'm sucking wind, dying on the stairs, and there you go, flying by with a vest on. I was like, who is this crazy guy? And then I think when I was just searching BC Fitness, I saw it, and I was like, okay. I saw you. I was like, oh, that guy knows what he's doing. He was running, so that's came to BC Fitness to be a better runner.
Nice. And so since then, like, what are some of the things you feel like you've improved upon? Kind of like go through before we get into this, so people can kind of get a concept, because I think sometimes people see somebody where they're at and they have no concept of where they came from, and they're just assuming you're just automatically amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of talk about like in that journey, because you haven't been always perfect, right? You've had steps back.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. But then you've refocused and then changed, right? So kind of talk a little bit about like your progress, because you've done a half, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk a little about all that stuff.
Okay. Well, starting off, just like every client you talk about, I was that client, sent in my first run. While I was doing my run, I was like, no way. This is 12 minutes. No, I was running faster than that. And sure enough, I sent you the data. No, heart rate too high. I literally had to, I say, what's the word? Take the ego out of it.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I came to this guy. Obviously, I wasn't improving, so let's just trust the process.
Sure.
So it, went from, very humbling 13-minute miles.
Yeah.
Starting off going slow and just kind of, throughout the runs, just slowly started improving, kind of doing Spartan races. Started, was probably in the middle of the pack. Then, was getting in the top 10 in my age group. And then, just increased running. Just really found a love for running because, at the time I was, early 40s or mid 40s, and I'd never really run seriously before, and then kind of really enjoyed the training of running.
Yeah.
And I think, especially during COVID.
Yeah, we did a lot. Yes. We were like running together quite often. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the most I've ever run. I think I ended up getting up to 40 miles a week, close to 50.
Yeah.
Training for the half marathon.
Yep.
And, never doing a race before. My first half marathon, I did an hour 40.
That's pretty good for your first one.
Yeah, first one. It was, really ecstatic about that, and just kind of, continued with the running. Just the other day I was scanning through like my averages of the year, and, most of the time I've been averaging about 19, 20 miles a year. So it's just, a good consistent base. And I tell some of the other people getting into running, I was like, it's not just overnight.
Yeah.
That consistency of just, that's the average for a year. Some months might be down, 10 miles, 15, others 30.
Yeah.
So it's just, from there, started High Rocks.
Yep.
That was a real big change there of the training and getting more focused into that. So it's just, over the last couple, is it 3 years now?
Yeah.
4 years?
It's almost 3. Yeah.
That we've been training for High Rocks. And it's kind of
Well, you've been 4
We've
because
done 4.
y'all were the first ones to do it.
So for us, it's 4.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main focus of just, the hybrid, they say, training now. It's just kind of really what I love, the lifting and then the running. It's just a great combination. That's really helped me bring my fitness to like another level.
And, I think, so like me, I talked about a little bit at the beginning of the year about how, last year was kind of a tough year for me as far as training, just with being so busy, over inundated, and really trying to focus on getting stronger and faster. And so I kind of sacrificed some of my easy pace volume. And, that was one of the things, it's even though you teach it and you talk about it all the time, right? When you do something long enough and maybe you're not necessarily paying attention to like the volume the way you usually would, like, or you're not looking at the plan the way you usually would, things can slip through the cracks, right? And then, I look back and I realize, oh my gosh, my easy pace volume wasn't where it should have been, and I'm doing all these hard efforts, and look at that, it didn't improve very much or at all, right? And, so I stopped, reassessed, went back, developing that aerobic capacity again. And then all of a sudden I start feeling stronger. I start feeling faster, more confident. So I think there was a time, because I mean, and I think people think, because, he's a coach, he's here, almost every day. So people think, and they think this about me too. They're like, James, you work out every day. It's easy for you because that's all you do is work out all day long, right? Which is actually not true, right? I have to squeeze it in just like everybody else, right?
Absolutely.
And but like, you weren't always in the gym, right? You worked in the oil fields.
Yeah, I
right?
worked in the oil fields. I travel all around. I would bring my equipment with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have a sled, all my sandbags, kettlebells in the back of my truck. So if there wasn't a gym, I'd just go find a high school field or just a field to go work out in. So no, it was, it wasn't always just easy. Like you said, just a gym is there. And,
right.
One thing people don't realize is when you do work in a gym, how many people, once they get done with work, want to stay at work.
There you go. Right.
Sometimes you're ready to get home, and
yes.
even though it is a gym where we work out, you still want to get home
right.
at times.
I mean, you're there at 5 a.m.
Yes.
And it's 8 p.m. Let me go grind this workout out after I've been grinding other people's workouts and like encouraging them and motivating them. Sometimes it's not very motivating to go and do it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why you have to discipline yourself. That's I like to lead by example. So I use that as my accountability type situation. But there was a time like during kind of when you were having to work, because you would be gone for what? Like a month at a time, 2 months at a time sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd be back for a week or two, right? And there was a time where like your running had kind of like the volume, the easy volume, just like me, had kind of gone down, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say even the last, 6 months, it's kind of gone down or went down a little bit. Was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I run 30 miles a week. And I was like, let me start scrolling through my Garmin, and I just kind of started scrolling through and kept going month. And it had been about 6 months, and I hit like 30 miles in a week. And I was like, wait a second.
How'd that happen?
Yeah. So it's, even as coaches, we tend to, just think, okay, I'm doing 30 miles, but you're really not sometimes.
Yeah, because you get busy.
Yeah.
Right? I cannot tell you how many people I have, especially on the first meeting. I'm like, so how many miles are you running a week? And they're like, oh, I run like 15, 20 miles a week, right? And then we go through the Garmin, or we go through the Koros, whatever the data is, the Strava data.
The data walk of shame is what.
And what they're doing is they remember the 1 week they had that they did 20,
yes.
right?
Yes.
But then they really have only averaged like 4 miles a week because they did 20 miles this week, 5 miles, 3 miles, 0 miles, and they're like, oh, my Garmin, it didn't sync. Oh, what's going on with my thing, man? I don't know what's happening, right? Every time without fail, right? You don't know anything about that, Lauren, right?
I wasn't going to point at myself, but thank you for bringing the attention.
I wanted to get you. You have been so quiet. I wanted to get you in the combo.
I'm just enjoying listening. And yes, no, I am definitely in that category of people. Like, I swear I do 20 miles a week, and then I did like 10, 12, 25.
With like a 15-mile long run or something like that. Not her. I'm just saying that's what people will do, right?
Yes.
So
I'm guilty. I am.
But what's crazy is,
better.
like, I know there was a point, like, you had kind of gone down, and I was like, all right, well, let's just get that volume back up, right? Let's focus on the easy stuff. And we did that for like 2 or 3 months, and then that's like you came back from that, and like immediately, like your next like 2 or 3 races, you got big PRs.
Oh, that's really specifically, that was when we went to Manchester.
Yep.
Went to Manchester, my volume, I'd probably say it was right under 20, maybe hitting 20, and my running wasn't great. I felt my running kind of let me down.
Yeah.
And so we kind of sat with you at our meeting, and I was like, you know what, we just kind of talked about, let's just spend the rest of the summer, 2 months, didn't do any speed work.
Yeah.
Just worked on getting that volume up.
Right.
To that, mid-20s, 30s, just kind of worked 2 months of volume. And then once we started hitting the speed work again, I felt faster, and I've gotten faster since then. Yeah.
So we all go through those ebbs and flows, right? We all have the ups, we have the downs, right? And it's easy sometimes, at church, sometimes our pastor will say something, he says like vision leaks. And basically all that means is if you do something long enough, you forget kind of what the mission was, right? Or what got you there. And it's really easy to kind of like fall off. And sometimes you have to be reminded of what like the main thing, keep the main thing the main thing. And so the aerobic capacity volume building is super important, not just because it helps build your aerobic capacity, but also because it makes it easier to do the hard stuff when you're doing the easy stuff, right? It's crazy. It's like when we go off the 80-20 principle.
We do.
And so in the 80-20 principle, basically, if you're doing, let's say you're doing, just for math's sake, if you're doing 30 miles a week, that means you can do 6 miles of hard effort, right? Or equal time, right? And so what is so crazy is that if I tried to do 6 miles of speed work, but I only did like, say, 20 miles a week, those 6 miles seem so hard. But then if I do my 30 miles a week and I try to do them, it's so weird. Even though I'm doing more work, those 6 miles don't seem as challenging.
Yeah.
And it's because you're building that aerobic capacity to be able to withstand the load of those harder efforts, right? So like all this stuff to me is so interesting because I see it so much. It's so repetitive. I see it work time and time and time and time again. But then when we fall off, or maybe when someone doesn't fully commit, he and I, we talk because we're both coaches, right? So, we'll throw things off of each other, right? He'll ask me questions and stuff. And then sometimes we compare notes on athletes, right?
Absolutely.
And he'll be like, so how's so-and-so doing? I'm like, well.
Oh, gosh, y'all talk about people?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's more like, how are they doing? Like, we want to encourage them. And I was like, well, I want them to do really well, but they're kind of like not necessarily following the plan. I might say, hey, can you give me some insight? Is there something I can say to kind of help convince them to get on the wagon?
Yeah, so different ways to motivate people.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you working with this person kind of deal?
Right.
So it's just kind of,
How can I trick them into doing this is what I'm asking.
How can I manipulate the situation?
Not manipulate, trick.
Okay, whichever makes you feel better.
So, but like, how can I encourage them to like give it a shot?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And which is so challenging sometimes because it's like, I think the hardest thing for me is, we all know, well, maybe Carlos doesn't know because he's
People don't fight with him as much. At least they don't seem like they do.
well, he's very chill and he looks wise.
Is it the bald head?
I don't think so.
Ray comes out.
Yeah, it's just his demeanor. He just has a demeanor that just demands respect, and people like him.
I listen.
He listens.
You do
He
listen.
listens well. I have a demeanor where people like want to automatically fight me.
They do want to fight you.
I don't understand that because I feel like I listen pretty well.
You sometimes instigate.
When was the last time? Okay, on Wednesday
I'm
night.
just
What
talking
did
about when I listen to you talk to other people. Sometimes, like you can be very sarcastic, and sometimes that's an instigative move.
No, I only am sarcastic and instigate when people are talking to each other. So I'm trying to get them riled up with each other, not with me.
Yes, right. You want to instigate other people.
Other people. I'm not trying to
instigate.
instigate myself. No, please be nice to me. But like sometimes it just blows my mind because like, someone will come to you and say, hey, I've seen all these people improve. I want to, so-and-so told me that you really helped them out. So will you coach me? And I'm like, of course. Yeah, I'd love to coach you. And, I ask them all the questions and da-da-da-da-da. And like, okay, here's, you're going to do 6 months. We're going to do one-on-one, whatever. And then they pay, right? Because I don't do work for free, so you pay up front, right? No refunds, no exchanges, no returns. And like I'll give them their information and I'll challenge them to do stuff. And it's crazy, man, like how often people don't follow the program, right? And when I say it's crazy how often, to me, if one person does it, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, because
right?
they're paying for it. You would assume, like, why would you pay for something you're not going to do?
Right. Don't pay for something. Don't pay money to somebody and then not listen to what they're going to tell you to do, right? It just doesn't make any sense, right? Especially if you notice, like, you're beat up all the time or you're not feeling great or you're not seeing the results maybe that you thought you could get. So I think for me, that's always the most challenging aspect is because I just assume that if you're going to go to somebody for help, when they give you the help, you're going to take it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But then, the zone 2 easy work, it's not sexy.
It's not, no.
You see people put all, AMRAPs, Metcons of, workouts on there and that, look intense. You're, flying around sweating and then, you're telling someone they can only do that twice and you got to do all this easy efforts to kind of build up to be able to do more. And they just see the end result of people, working out, doing these workouts and then not realizing that's only a small portion or should be a small portion of their weekly workouts.
Right.
Kind of deal.
That's actually one reason why I stopped posting videos of me working out. Because I cannot tell you how many times people will be like, well, I know you're doing all this stuff. So they're comparing themselves to me. And I'm like, well, actually, I'm not doing all this stuff you think I'm doing. And then I'm like, I go through the week of what I'm doing. And I honestly believe they don't believe me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, it's not true.
Secret workouts.
That's exactly right. I'm doing these like super secret midnight workouts that no one knows about.
The lights go off.
They don't even go on Strava.
James is in there.
Yeah, they don't even go up. I'm not even recording those workouts.
You see his car in the parking lot at midnight.
You know I'm grinding in there, grinding. I'm too lazy to do that, man. So it's like, people don't realize that most of what, the stuff that I'm trying to do and most of the stuff that a lot of the elite athletes are doing to justify all those like Metcons and AMRAPs and all those hard efforts they're doing, right? I saw something Dylan Scott did the other day. Dude came in, wrecked Las Vegas, right?
He really did. Like, it was pretty cool to watch.
Dude was like owning freaking Hunter and everybody else there. And I saw a workout that he did the other day, and it was nuts. Dude did like, it was like, and I don't know if this couldn't have been the whole workout, but if it was insane. He did like 1K repeats times 4. Then it was like right after that he did a 1K, and then so it was like you started with a 4K with the repeats, 1 minute break in between each one. Then he went 1K, and then it was like 50 burpees or something like that. But the goal was to try to get to 50 within a timer. So what he had to do was like 20 minutes of that. So he'd run a 1K and then do burpees. 1K and do burpees. 1K for 20 minutes. And he was trying to get as many of those rounds in, right? Then he went to like, I think it was like wall balls. And it was like 50 wall balls. And one a run K, 50 wall balls. 1K, 50 wall balls with 1 minute breaks. And he had to do 20 to 30 minutes of that. And it was like there were 2 or 3 other like workouts that he did that were 1K and something, 1K and something. And they were all 20. So like the whole thing took like an hour or something like that for him to go through it. And that is a grind session. And he's running 1Ks that are like sub 4 minute 1Ks, right? He's running like 320s, something fast, right? Yeah. So he's running like a sub 6 minute pace, probably faster than that. And like that is a hard workout. Most people they wouldn't survive that workout. They'd quit halfway through, right? Well, you can't do a workout like that, no matter how amazing you are, unless you have the aerobic capacity to justify that, right? And he's got the volume. He's probably doing 50 plus miles a week of running or biking or cycling or something like that, where he's on some sort of aerobic capacity effort. So, but they only see that one workout and they're like, all right, I'm going to add this workout. And this is
throw that in there with my 10 miles.
I'm going to become Elite 15 doing this. Yeah, I'm going to do my 10-mile long run. So it's like, understanding how to truly build a plan and how to work through it. And, when does the hard stuff benefit me? When does the threshold or anaerobic efforts, like training the different systems for whatever, discipline you're going to do. Right. So usually when I start out, obviously we always have pleasantries, right? So how you feeling?
Pleasantries.
Great.
Yeah. How's the training going? You feeling good during it?
Feeling great.
Yep. Well, let's get this stuff out of the way.
All right.
Like, what's your 4-week average been?
Let me pull it up.
Okay. Yeah. Pull that up.
Pull it up.
Yep. It'd be nice if you were prepared.
Is this real-time data?
This is real-time
This
data.
is all real-time data?
This is real. We're doing this.
This is not rehearsed. This was not.
No,
anything.
none of
I was
this.
told not to look
I
at
told
it.
him, don't even get prepared.
Don't get prepared. Just come in like a normal.
Come in like we're meeting.
We're meeting. All right. 4-week average, 28.7.
All right. 28.7. All right. And then what's your max week?
Max week was 32.
32. All right. And longest run?
10. Hold on. Where is it? 10.2.
All right. 10.2. All right. And speed efforts, what do those look like?
They've been went up to 25 minute. We started at 15.
We're doing what, tempo threshold effort?
Tempo efforts.
Okay.
At 6:55 to 7:05 pace.
Okay.
And been hitting it, but the last one, the 25-minute one, I hit at 7:04. So it's just.
So did you start at like at a 7:04 and maintain that? Did you start like at a 6:50 and it slowed down to 7:04? What did that look like?
Let me pull up the last one. The last one actually started at 7:10 for like the first mile, and then just slowly got faster.
Okay.
Kind of.
So you averaged a 7:04.
Yeah, averaged a 7:04.
So what'd you finish at? Like say the last 5-10 minutes or whatever it was.
Okay, so 7:10, 7:04, 7 minutes. The last,
okay.
Yeah.
And that was that 25-minute one?
Yep.
Okay. So overall, during the effort, how did you feel?
Definitely had to push.
Okay.
It was the the weather was the cold weather.
Okay.
Those cold days. It was like the last two was right after the freeze, and the one after that it was cold. So the heart rate was good. I wasn't maxed out, but definitely it was one of those efforts where I had to want it.
Gotcha.
It was like there was okay. I especially the 25 minute, that last 5 minutes, I had to want it.
Okay.
Like it was, had to grind to get hold that pace.
Okay. So when you were done, right, because you usually do a warm down or whatever, like how did that warm down feel? Was it like, okay, I'm fine, I can keep doing this, or like, man, that kicked my butt?
That kicked my butt.
Okay.
But it was a slow pace, shuffling, walking back. I was like, I'm glad that was finished.
What was your heart rate like? I mean, obviously, we're worried about the pace, but we want to kind of like rehearse and see, what did the effort actually look like based off of like your heart rate data?
So the max was 173.
Okay.
For the whole total is average 151. So
okay, so you were where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, so pulling it up. 10 minutes in, definitely kind of got to about 160s, and then just kind of hovered there.
Okay.
About 160 is most of the way.
So like how much of that was threshold then? Like just time-wise? How much orange did you have?
30 minutes.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
30
good.
minutes in
So
zone 4.
Okay, sweet. So probably part of that was on the recovery run, right? So I was 30.
Yeah.
Your heart rate was coming back down,
yes.
right? So, okay, sweet. What about like the strength efforts and stuff, right? So, I mean, you're doing, well, I guess for part of the speed too, you're doing Sunday. Well, you haven't been doing Sunday because you've been doing the small group stuff, right? But
Yep.
you've been doing it, right?
I've been coming here or doing it earlier.
So what does that look like?
I was doing the track workout.
Okay.
Doing my 800 repeats.
Okay.
And then I just switched up the last 2 weeks to working kind of similar to the track workout, but here at the gym.
And what do those look like?
Those were doing like a run effort. The last week I did a run, I think it was 2 laps, like 640 meters into an exercise, and then finishing with another exercise. So like a sandwich, kind of like almost like we used to do at track.
Yep.
And
So
then
run, workout, run.
Yes.
And then what was the break like?
4-minute break.
Okay.
And then did 3 rounds of that.
Okay.
So the exercises were coming in. It was a partner workout with my mixed partner, Joyce. So we run together, come in. I think we hit the skier, sled, kettlebell carry, and then run again.
Okay.
And then kind of.
How many times have y'all done that?
Twice.
Okay. What's the pace?
Shooting for about 7 minutes.
Okay. So how does that feel? Is that pretty? That's probably not too challenging, I would assume.
No, pace feels good.
Yeah.
Pace feels good.
Okay. All right. I would say, right, so remember we want to build, we're always working toward, building someplace, right? So we're always progressive. Overload is kind of the ultimate goal. So since it's a partner workout, right? So, you got to maintain and you're running. I'm assuming the goal is to run race pace, right? It's kind of the idea. So, but I would say, like, if you said you did 3 rounds?
Yes.
Okay, so 640-ish meters, so almost 1,200 meters each round.
Yeah.
So basically 3,600 meters. Well, for that effort, how long did that take? What, 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes?
No, it took about 50 minutes.
Really?
I think maybe it was
Were you taking breaks in between each round? Or was it just a consistent?
4-minute break.
So it was a 4-minute break. So you would do the round, 4-minute break, do the round. So then you had 16 minutes of break? Was it 4 breaks?
3 breaks.
Or 3 breaks.
Yeah.
All right, so you had 12 minutes of break. So technically the effort, if it took you 50 minutes, you said?
Roughly, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so then you're still doing about 35 minutes of work or so.
Yeah,
right?
and that might include the warm-up, too.
Okay, all right.
So I think I remember the time, and that was just mainly kind of, I guess the issue was having a client. I had clients.
Gotcha.
So I just kind of, the time
You're trying
frame,
to cut it to get it done, trying to meet the time.
Time frame, just trying to fit that in.
Okay. So if those are the workouts you're going to be doing, right, with your partner or whatever, are you coming up with it? Is something your partner's bringing to the table?
I'm kind of basing it somewhat off of our track workout.
Okay. So my suggestion on that one, right, since that's not necessarily one I'm assigning you, I would say that's probably one. Think more of duration, okay? So if you're doing 32 miles a week, right, so technically you do about 6 miles of speed work. Well, if you're doing a tempo run, 25 minutes, at like a 7-minute pace, well, you're running right at 4 or just under 4 miles, so 3.5 miles or so, right? So that leaves you the bandwidth to run another 2.5 to 3 miles hard, right? Well, that's going to be, closer to, like 5,000 meters, right? Total. And so if you're doing that partner workout, it might behoove you more to make it just a little bit longer or decrease the rest.
Okay.
Right. So think of it this way. It's more like, so if the goal is to like work on getting fast at the stations, well, then since you're only running 600 meters per lap, you might be needed setting the pace faster.
Okay.
Right. If the goal is to practice running race pace, then you might either need to increase the distance or decrease the rest. So ultimately, as we're building these training blocks, what have you, we want to think, all right, I need to work on that aerobic base. Okay. In the race, I'm going to have to use my lactate threshold because it's a very lactate threshold specific event. But then I'm also going to get anaerobic at some point, right? Usually toward the end of the race because you're trying to push. Yeah. So that means we also have to train that anaerobic capacity, right? So usually your Thursday should be more that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then, since that's the case, we want to get back into that anaerobic or that threshold, right? So I might just, like I said, adapt it a little bit. It's going to probably make the workout a little more challenging. Okay. But if you're trying to mirror it, kind of what we're doing on Sundays, that would be a closer of a mirror than, because what you're doing is probably closer to, like, I don't want to say an AMRAP, but it's more of like since it's you go, I go, you're getting more than 1-to-1 rest.
Gotcha.
Right. So you're resting during the event, half of the event or the workout, and then you're getting a 4-minute rest. Right. Well, if you're doing 600 meters at a 7-minute pace, well, I would think that that's not going to take you 4 minutes to run that.
Yeah.
Right. So you're getting more rest than you're running, but then you're also resting so it's just a lot of rest is all.
Nope. Okay.
Right. So we want to keep the heart rate elevated. So I bet during that workout, like one of the workouts, what was the last one you did? What was the heart rate look like? Like percentages of aerobic and threshold.
I feel like we need elevator music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, that's Indiana Jones.
I know. I've been doing that a lot lately.
So I was pushing, got up to max of 185, average 136.
There it is.
The lulls.
Right. So that average 136. So if you go down to the final chart, and let's see what's the.
Yeah, just 9 minutes in zone 4,
and then
17 minutes in zone 3, and then 16 minutes in zone 2.
Okay, so the majority of it is zone 2 or zone 3, and that's just because you're resting enough that your heart rate like plummets.
Yeah.
Right. So probably for that workout, you want it to be more. If you're going to do it, you might as well be training that lactate threshold.
Okay.
Right. So if you don't do the rest, it's going to completely change that workout.
I was thinking about I was wanting to increase the runs kind of each week.
That's fine.
To go from there to push it harder.
So maybe still, if you increase the runs, maybe make the rest 2 minutes.
Got you.
Because you're still taking the breaks. Yep. Right. So I would assume if you're looking at it, because I was looking at the up and downs. On the up and downs, what was happening is there was a definite drop on those 4 minutes. Right. You were completely recovered.
Yeah.
As far as your heart rate. Right. But then you could also see little drops throughout the event because you were doing the workout. So like you're pushing the sled, it probably spikes. Well, then she pushes the sled and then it goes down. Right. Yeah. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think because you're completely getting that rest, that 4-minute rest, it's probably letting you recover too much. So if you're going to increase to, say, 700 meters this next week, we'll maybe try 3-minute rests and see what your heart rate does, see how you feel.
Okay.
And the next week, so when you're progressing like this, you either increase the load, decrease the rest, and that changes the workout completely, right? Or if you add a little bit of add another lap, that changes it completely. So those are all different ways to make it either easier or more challenging. So my suggestion would be just lower the rest just a little bit, and it's okay to still increase the distance.
Okay.
Right? What about like your other strength efforts throughout the week?
Thursday workout.
Yeah.
That we do.
And how are you feeling? We're not going to talk too much about that one.
Okay.
Because that's
your proprietary.
That's
workout.
proprietary.
Right.
It's copyrighted. Infringements would happen. So just tell me how you're feeling on those workouts.
Good. Feeling stronger.
He tried to sabotage my partner the other day.
That is a lie.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard
wow.
dirty.
Yeah. He's
Very
like,
dirty.
all right, so here's the technique. I was like, first of all, don't be coaching my partner. All right. But he's like, here's the thing. I want you to lean back on this sled
take her
pull.
out.
Really
Right.
put that weight into it.
Really put
Really
your
dig
body
in.
weight into it. And then he clipped the rope on for her. But then he neglected to clip one side of the thing. So it was only strapped on one side. And she went to pull that thing and fell flat on her butt.
I mean, that really does.
And I apologize profusely.
Oh, he did. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, just like a villain.
Yeah. He's like, excellent.
We're going to.
False.
Carlos is a double agent.
And then what'd you do today? He did something today, too, I feel like.
I did nothing today.
Oh, he was trying to instigate my partner and I. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, he's
You
like,
guys were
he's like,
arguing.
they're already over there fighting.
He's trying to get dissension in the
Yeah.
ranks.
You guys were.
We were not fighting.
arguing.
I was motivating her beyond her point because she was telling me what she couldn't do. I was like, I tell you what you can't do.
Yeah, I tell you.
All I said was can't say can't.
That's
all I
exactly
said.
right.
That's all I said.
Rule number one:
Yeah, that's right.
don't say can't. So, so how are the Thursdays feeling overall?
Good. Feeling really, strong. I felt really good on the wall balls.
Okay. Yeah, you were crushing those freaking
Yeah,
wobbles.
that must be so nice for you.
It's-
You're just throwing that 25-pound ball up there like it was nothing.
yeah. So I have a good video of actually catching your ball when it went over your head.
Yeah, we both
Oh,
have that video.
cold-blooded.
Yeah, I know that
Not
ball.
a bad
I
thing.
caught
It's
that
just-
ball and it literally hit my head and rolled straight back.
It was just kind of funny. I just saw it.
So you crushed those lunges too, man.
Yeah.
We were kind of like getting a little competitive, and it was just mainly just to push the pace.
Face.
Yeah,
Sounds
but
like
this
fun.
dude was like
He was
lunging like
faster,
nobody's
don't let her catch you.
business.
Go faster, don't let her catch you. I'm like,
Yeah.
I am about to die.
I was motivating you, Lauren.
I turned around. He goes to go the other way. As soon as I turn around, I'm like gonna walk. He's already halfway. I'm like running to catch him. My break was a 5-second break.
Good.
Thank you for pushing
Good,
me, but also,
friendly
oh my
competition.
goodness,
That's how we get better.
So just understanding the point of that workout, right, is it's not that long of a workout.
it's
right?
not.
No.
So
It's
like
a
it only
hard
takes
effort.
like 20 minutes or so, 24 minutes. I
Yeah.
think it was 24 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
ish.
You don't get breaks, but
No.
it's not a super long workout. So we're trying to really get fast,
Yeah,
right? Obviously the weight is heavy. All the weights are heavy.
all the weight's heavy.
But it's a short, high intensity effort. So there's no breaking, right? There's no putting your arms on the machine and just chilling to recover. It's not about the recovery. It's about pushing.
I knew I was going to get down to the 2 eventually. It just took me a few seconds.
No, you were not going slower. You were going faster. And you weren't even on the freaking assault bike.
I know. Thank you so much for taking that assault
So
bike.
stupid. I'm like over here dying, like literally having a heart attack. And she's just doopy doopy doopy
I
doo.
got there
It
eventually.
was pissing me off too because you had
was only
my
the last
you had
one.
my thing plugged in.
I did.
So you're
Your
lowering my
data looks
stats.
terrible.
You're lowering my stats
Your
over
data
here.
does not look great.
Sunday bike ride.
Exactly
Just-
right. So, so what do you feel like in that particular one? Where do you feel like you're improving? Is there something like you feel like you still got you really need to work on, or is it just overall you feel like it's like
It's progressing.
Yeah.
I feel everything's, progressing, just kind of, working the burpees. I definitely tried to push the burpees faster today. Didn't do usually I'll change it back between like the step up and then just kind of jumping up. And I just did the jump up method today and just really pushed it, and I felt good doing that. So just kind of working with that and feeling better, pushing the pace on the rowing.
okay,
That's feeling good.
okay.
And same as the skier.
So are you getting a concept, I guess, then of like, okay, this is the number. So for the race, ultimately what we're trying to do is figure out, obviously, what's the pace you're going to run? What's the race strategy? What's the race plan going to look like? So are you feel like you're getting a better idea of when you're on your skier or your rower, what the pace is going to be, what the duration's going to be? Do you kind of feel like you kind of nailed that down by now, or are you still working that out a little bit?
No, I think I got it nailed down.
Okay.
I think it's, just, got the Houston coming up and then Atlanta as well, which I'll be doing solo. So I'm kind of working, I was training for this, but then I also have Atlanta to go right into. So I'm definitely knowing my paces, what I can push with the doubles. Obviously, you push a little harder, and then solo, just kind of fine-tuning my paces, what I can push comfortably.
Okay.
And so I think as far as the doubles, I think we have a good what do you say, like scheme or plan as far as our times, when to switch. So I think we've gotten that, really pretty solidified as far as like how many burpees we're going to do, sled push, wall balls. I think it's just kind of same thing, just communicating.
Yeah. I mean, you keep going at the pace you're going, your partner's not going to need to do any wall balls because you're just going to go unbroken 100.
Yeah, seriously.
She would not complain. She's like,
I don't know anybody that would complain. I wouldn't complain either.
I take it, yeah. Great.
It was ticking me off because we're using that heavier ball, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to go like 30, 35 unbroken, no problem. Let my partner get in here. And this dude's, I'm getting to the number, and he's not slowing down.
No.
I'm like, this fool's going to do 40.
He did do,
so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do 42 as well. And then he does like 47. I'm like, this clown.
Let's not talk about when we do other wall balls, and if you finish first, got him. There could be a millisecond.
It doesn't matter. I still got him.
I'll hear it. I'll just hear from the side.
Carlos makes the mistake of like counting out loud every now and again.
So
and when I can hear him, I'm like, okay, I know I need to pick it up. And I think we were doing wall balls, and I think he said like 95, 96. I was like, oh, let's go. And so I threw up 100, and I was like, got him.
Every time.
But it's okay. It's okay.
It's all good fun.
You got us today by a good margin.
That's
yeah,
it.
you were throwing that 25-pound up like it
Hey,
was nothing.
This is called proprietary.
Sorry.
Stop giving away my stuff.
Sorry.
Jeez.
25.
Skate around it.
Skate around
it.
That heavy ball.
Heavy ball. We won't say what type.
Yes. You did to start out, how many did you do unbroken with the 25-pound ball?
47.
Yeah.
47.
Yeah, 47.
That's awesome, dude. So that's a perfect example, right? So we're doing progressive overload. So obviously the way we started is different than where we're at now, right? And originally we kind of had progressed, and the goal was, so the first workout we did a couple months ago was, all right, the goal is go unbroken as many as you can. We were using the 20-pound ball, I think, right? Or the 14?
20, I think. We've been using the 20 for a little while.
I think we've been using the 20, but we started with the 14, and the goal was to go on as many as you could unbroken, and whatever that number was, right, you had to stop, and there was a penalty, right? And so the penalty was bad enough that you were like, I got to try to not do as many. Remember that one?
The burpees.
Yes.
Yeah,
so...
Oh, yeah, that was
so we got to numbers like 60, 70, right, unbroken, and then we raised the weight, and then we're kind of been progressing since then, right? And so now, like today, you did almost 50 unbroken with a 25-pound ball, and then still followed it up with, the lighter weight. And so, as we're progressing with that weight, now you're able to do the higher volume with the heavy weight. So it's like when you go to that lower ball,
it's nothing.
It's like super easy. Right. So, but the progression wasn't like, let's just start throwing this 25-pound ball, because when you pick that 25-pound ball up, that sucker's heavy.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's substantial weight, and it's only like a few more pounds, but over the 20, right?
You though, just going from the 14 and trying it with the 20, I was like, oh, this isn't fun. Y'all do this all the time, and then I know you're doing something even heavier, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, no. So, but that's part of that whole system of progressive overload, where you're consistently, leveling up, you're overloading the muscle, you're either increasing volume, intensity, or weight, right? And for us, we're increasing weight so that we can increase volume through the intensity, right? So, and I think today was a great testament that you've improved significantly on that.
Yeah, no, it felt great.
Yeah. Good. So, is there anything else you think, as far as what we need to kind of focus on, or things you feel challenged in? Because I think we need to keep the progression as far as the threshold efforts, right? Because technically you're going to have to run 5.5, 6 miles, right, and be able to maintain that pace. And then since it's always like when you're doing mixed doubles, unless you have a freaking she-woman Hulk or whatever with you. More than likely, you're probably going to have to do a little bit more of the heavier weights, right? Just because it's so much heavier than the ladies' weights are, right? So even though these ladies are super strong, if you want to be competitive, right, you got to kind of split it up.
Yeah, no, I think for the most part we split it 60-30, 70, or 60-40, 70-30 on the heavy sled.
Yeah.
And, burpees we split evenly, and then even some of the erg work I'll do a little bit more, just taller. That just
it's easier, right?
It's easier, taller.
That mass, all the good stuff.
So it's just kind of, I think you said not workload.
Right.
Shared
Equal
workload.
effort.
Equal effort.
Not equal load.
Yeah, equal effort. That's right. So we both come out of each station feeling about the same.
Yes.
Both tired.
But still able to hit the pace.
Yes.
That's the goal. Right.
No good if I'm more tired or she's more tired in a certain station, then we come running, one of us is hurting.
So do you feel like there's anything, I guess, so we're 5 weeks out or so, right, from Houston. So are there specific things you feel like you still need to, you really want to focus on, that you've been a little more challenged in than others, or are you satisfied with the progression at this rate?
I am definitely satisfied for
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Okay.
5 weeks out. I think just kind of continue trying to build up the volume.
Okay.
Another thing, Tuesday usually a strength workout. It's been a little bit less structured last month. Did my partner. We did a partner workout.
Okay.
So it's like once a month. We've been doing kind of like a station work, and did that on one Tuesday. Then another Tuesday, I did Tommy's kettlebell class.
Okay.
That was really good.
Okay.
And then kind of just been mixing it up. Usually I've been kind of doing like a total body strength day. And so I've just kind of been a little bit, not as strict on that Tuesday.
Okay. And I think that's okay. I would say just try to make sure. So like if you're going to do like the partner session type thing, right? I probably wouldn't do that partner session if it's what I'm thinking it is. If what I think I saw you guys doing. I probably wouldn't do that and then do the Sunday thing because those are probably too similar as far as the intensity level is what I mean, right? Because you remember you got to keep
100%.
Right, you got to keep that easy volume up.
Yeah, no, that was definitely it changed my schedule up a little bit.
Okay.
Kind of deal. So no, that's kind of why I didn't do any strength work or my speed on that day kind of deal. So it does change it up. So it's more of kind of not say one time occasionally thing, kind of a test.
Gotcha.
And
so I think like the kettlebell class was probably perfect, like for a strength effort because it's not super intense. It's not going to crush your will. It's very functional movements.
I don't know, Tommy tried to.
He tried to kill you.
Yeah, he did.
Well, don't you have to manage that, sir.
Okay, well
Don't let him kill you.
No means no.
Sitting there smiling, and there we go. Hey, just do another 50 kettlebell swings. Okay, thank you, Tommy.
So modification is allowed. Modification is allowed.
Okay, perfect.
So remember, so kind of when we're talking about the easy stuff, right? So I think it's really easy when you're running because you've got a handle of like what aerobic efforts look like. I think it's much easier to manage that effort, right? Because you know what that is. Sometimes it can be a little more challenging when you're doing strength efforts to keep that effort quote unquote easy.
Yeah.
Right. So, one way I try to like explain it is when you're done with it, you should feel like you could do it again. Right. If you do it and like, you're like, man, that was tough. Or man, if I had another 10 or 15 minutes of that, like I'd be laying on the floor. Then it was probably a little too challenging to be in that realm of easy. Gotcha. So just because you're not sore, just because you don't feel like trash after the workout's over, it doesn't mean the workout didn't benefit you.
Nope, absolutely.
Right.
I took your class yesterday.
Yeah.
I kind of eased it. Some people went and grabbed heavy dumbbells.
I instantly regretted that.
And I was like, no, I have Thursday workout tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy it. I had fun with the class. It was a good little push. I like the, the squat to kind of hip opener.
Yeah.
That was a really good movement.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And, but I had fun, didn't overly exert myself. But
okay.
Got a little workout in too.
Good. So are there any days? I mean, is the calendar okay as far as like how we have the days set up? Can we keep that the same? Is there anything we need to adapt or change at all?
No, I think everything looks good on the days. I guess the only thing I'd add is last 2 months I've been adding one bike day.
Okay. What day are you usually doing that?
I can't remember what Wednesday on my rest day.
Okay.
Easy effort. It's just a
duration, time, distance, what?
20 to 40 minutes, just kind of increased. So 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes of just low impact Peloton ride.
Good. I like it. All right. So I think since we hit that 32 number, right, if you have the bandwidth, I would say we keep building that volume because it would be nice because we should be able to technically get to like 38 or close to 40 mileage if we follow the rules, right? So we technically could get to 40 if we're following the rules. And then once we get through Houston, then to prepare, because we basically have like literally one training block between Houston and Atlanta, I believe. If we could build that up to like, say, 45, 46, technically we could probably get to 50, maybe closer to 46. That way you can have some rest and taper in there, right? Because you're going to be tired. Then I think that helps give you that other bump of fitness to truly prepare for that tougher effort because you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think those are just some things to think about is like, as we keep progressing is to make sure that, you're figuring out that schedule on where you're going to get those extra miles from, right? How are we going to like split that up so that we don't overwhelm like some of the other stuff, and so we may have to do like some 2-a-day kind of things where like you're running a little bit of mileage in the morning, like as a recovery effort. And then maybe we're doing some harder efforts at night. Right. Okay. So just kind of thinking about that now as we get through this session, cause this will be, approaching the 40. And then once we get over the 40, you're still going to have, whatever the hard sessions are, you're still going to be doing strength stuff. You're still going to be working and living life, right? So figuring out how we can manage that and squeeze those in so you don't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. All right, sweet. So what I'll do is we'll put this together. This is your recovery week, right?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Actually, last week was recovery week.
Oh, so you're late.
I'm late.
Oh, you do this meal.
I know.
These are the ones I can't stand.
The lateness.
The late ones.
I'm still
We
running.
should have met last week.
I'm still
so
running.
we can reset this plan this
I
week.
have been.
You were doing perfect. You were the model
You were the shining
athlete.
star.
You were the model athlete hitting it all. And then you
now-
come in with this jazz. You should have just lied.
They just lied. Well, I've been training with you for so long. I was like, I already know what Monday's going to be.
You know what Monday's going to do. All right. But what the thing is now is you put the pressure on me to get it done before the week's over.
Sometimes pressure's good.
Oh, but no, your
pressure is-
response should be, oh, no, don't worry about that, coach. We understand we can start Monday.
Yeah, we can start Monday. I know. Like I said, we've been working long enough. I'm going to throw my wife under the bus.
Oh.
Yeah, watch out. I could be sleeping on the couch, but if you don't have a plan for her, she's completely. I don't know what to do on Monday. Nothing in there. I'm like, well, you've been running 3 miles for the last year, so I'm going to guess 3 miles.
That wife scenario sounds vaguely familiar. Are you running? I haven't had a plan in months. Okay, we haven't met. Why you want to meet? No, you don't. You're too busy. Okay, babe. Well, I mean, we can meet. I'll save some time for you right now. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, baby, it's not fine. I love you, and I want to serve you. Stop being dumb, James.
For safety reasons, please edit out my comments just for please.
That's going to cost you, bro.
Oh,
That's
man.
going to cost you. You made the mistake.
Editing.
So, yeah, all right. So I'll work on this. We'll try to get it done before the weekend's over. And what we'll probably do on the threshold efforts is, we can do two things. We can either keep increasing them, or we can do like an interval threshold. And I'm really thinking that's maybe where we're going to go. So instead of doing like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, I think what I'd like to do is let's break those up, right? So in your 20-minute session, you got to what? Like right at 2 miles or what?
The 20-minute session, so that's going to be just under 3 miles.
Just under 3. Okay. So let's start. We're going to do 2 interval sets, and we're going to start at like 2.5.
Okay.
So you'll run like 2.5. You'll no rest, like not like sitting still, but like jog.
Okay.
Like a jog recovery, and then we'll do another 2.5, and then we'll increase that each week. So the rest will remain the same. You got a half-mile run break, but as soon as you hit that half mile, you got to take off.
Okay.
Okay. So that'll be a perfect time to practice like the nutrition, taking it in. That would be a good time to take it right during that like easier running period. And then the goal is basically try to like have that second interval, long interval, be faster than the first one.
Okay.
So maybe you do the first one closer to like 7:05, and the second one maybe sub 7, 6:55-ish.
Okay.
Right. And then we'll just build on that one each week. And then we'll keep building the Thursday. And then as far as like what you're doing on Sunday, I think what you're doing is fine. Just kind of make those adaptations we kind of talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Sounds
All
great.
right, awesome. Any questions? Anything we didn't hit, we didn't get?
I'm trying to think. No, I think that hits it all.
Okay, sweet. All right, so I'll put this together, and it'll be live here pretty soon.
Awesome.
Sound good? All right.
Thank you.
All right, so guys, that's how simple it is. That's how easy it is. We go through the progressions. We talk about what we need to fix, what we need to change, and that's how you build a program, right? You address all the major things that you're trying to address. You create the plan, but the biggest part about creating a plan is what?
Consistency.
Yeah, doing the plan,
to the plan.
following the plan, and being consistent in the following of that plan. And you really you cannot determine if something works or not unless you actually try it fully committed to it. If you don't fully commit to it and you're kind of half in, half out, then you're never going to be able to truly tell what it was, right? And so it's like trying to, if you're doing a scientific test, right, they usually will have a sample group, right? And they'll have like, a group where it's basically like a control group is what they call it. And, then they implement these different things, and they're not implementing all these different things on one. They're trying different things on the different control groups to see what's going to work best. Because if you try all of them on one control group, you don't know what the thing is that actually got you the benefit, if you got any benefit, right? So this is all just sports physiology. It's how the body works. It's how you build the body. And, if you're utilizing these strategies, I've never seen it not work. Honestly, I've never seen it not work. The only times I've seen it not actually help people or benefit people is when they haven't actually stuck to it and done it.
Yeah.
Right. So I hope that kind of helped you guys. And I hope you got a concept of like, okay, what should it look like? What are some of the things I should be focused on? What are some things I need to be aware of as I'm going through this? We could have, if he says to me that, he's having some issues with his hip, right? Or he's starting to feel some pain, we might have gone into some progressions on, what are some mobility issues or what are some like strength issues? Because usually most injuries come from overuse or some sort of muscular imbalance. So we would talk about how can we address that, right? And that's happened, right? It's happened to all of us. And so there's definitely things you can train through, but if you do not address them quickly, sometimes they can become issues that you're going to spend a lot of time trying to get through, right? So it's better to just go ahead and address them, and you can work through them, and it's really going to be kind of in the devil's in the details, right? So that's it. That's how we would work through it. That's how we would plan it. I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys got something out of it. This guy has me doing a bunch of work now, which is fine.
I got something out of it.
Yeah.
He didn't get emotional once.
He didn't cry.
He didn't cry. There's so many sessions where people get a little emotional.
And you know what? That's what I
You
appreciate about Carlos, is that he is yet to cry in any of our sessions.
Any of them.
This is why I didn't do my session.
And honestly,
That would have been a dramatic
honestly,
episode.
I can't say that
Would've been
for,
a lot of drama.
and I will say, that I'm actually very appreciative of that, I have so many women that trust me to help them with their journey. But most of them have all cried at some point.
You should tack on a therapy fee.
No.
Can
It's
I
all free.
just throw in a big testosterone kind of story real quick?
Sure, go for it.
We were watching Predator,
Yeah.
Were you?
and I was like, Alex, come here, let's do the Predator handshake.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he came over.
Did he do it?
He did it.
Oh.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
did it. He
flexed
flexed
it?
it. Yep, and flexed up. And I was like, it was a very proud parenting moment.
I was there. Was such
Did
a
you tear up?
father-son
A little bit.
moment.
Yeah. It was a testosterone tear.
it was
T-tier.
Yeah, it was T-tier.
Yeah.
Straight,
Tear.
just came out. It was a man tear.
But then you
kinda-
just suck it back in.
No, I let it roll.
You let it roll.
Yeah, those are okay.
Nice.
One single tear
Yeah.
in a moment of pride, that's definitely acceptable.
Yeah, it was just,
Very alpha data. You.
It was alpha dads. Just to let you know. So
I'm tearing up over here right now. I'm
Yeah,
getting
it was
misty-eyed.
very
My
cool.
God, because I'll never have that.
The day that
I do it with my
finally-
daughter, but it's not the same thing.
that's just It was,
The day that I finally watched Predator all the way through and come in and just like quote something that's a little more obscure that proves that I have watched the movie, I feel like James might be proud of me.
I'm always proud of you, Lauren, when you do what you're supposed to do.
yeah,
Watch Predator.
yeah, it's been on your homework for
Years.
It's been a long
years.
time.
Yeah,
Years.
It's been a
we've
long time
kinda-
coming. Here's what's going to happen on the week of my funeral. The week of my funeral, she's going to watch the movie so that she has something because she's going to want to
talk
share.
about.
She's going to want to share, even though she's maybe not asked to share. She's going to want to share. And they were like, "Is there anyone like to say yes?" This week, I finally watched Predator.
No, what I'm gonna
And I would like to
do-
commit this to James.
What I'm going to do is in the middle of your ceremony, I'm going to play it, the whole movie. Like, guys, we're going to sit and we're going to watch Predator together because it's what James would want. And we're going to
No.
all watch Predator.
I'm fairly certain I'm going to outlive you. So that's what I'm going to do at your funeral is I'm going to play Predator. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to live longer. So
What? No.
Yeah. Yes, there have been many studies that show several
No.
different things that
don't
would
know if
be
he
the
knows-
reason why I will live longer.
My-
First reason, I don't own 5 cats.
I'm about to say she's gonna be eaten by cats.
Yeah,
that's
the number one reason.
That's. I mean, I hope it's not. And then
Every time I said, I don't know if you saw it, but I sent a video or whatever, like in the group of like cats eating the old lady, and they're like nobbing on her, and it was like obviously funny. It wasn't real.
No, it was an old movie or something.
Yeah,
It
and
was
she
super cheesy.
she like came back with like defense of the cats.
I did. I'm like,
every post
she
of
must
cats
have
is-
done something wrong.
Yeah, the lady must have done something sinful, and the cats are just like trying to survive.
Have you not seen the one? It's a similar feel. It might almost be the same thing, just based on the feel, where an old woman, is in a wheelchair, and a cat like walks behind her wheelchair and like rubs up on it, and it starts rolling down the hill.
I did see
Towards
one
traffic.
where this like little kid, and this guy does like these voices over the cats and stuff, and this little baby was sitting on a thing, and the cat came up, and the baby was like, he's like grabbed the cat's ears, and the cat's like, he's like, why don't be touching my ears like that? Who do you think you are? And the baby goes, like hits the cat, bam, 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 like 3 times, right? And then kind of gives the cat a dirty look, and the cat looks at this baby and like paws the baby, like bam, bam, like 2 times real quick. He's like, that's what you get for touching me. And the baby like starts to crawl off. And as the baby's crawling off, it hit him 2 more times. Bam, bam. He's like, yeah, you hit me 4 times. Don't think I didn't see you hit me 4 times. I counted it. And the baby gets to another section and turns around and looks at the cat with like this devil look. And the cat's like, don't look at me like that. You started this. I'm finishing it. I thought it was pretty funny, but it was very on brand for a cat.
It is on brand.
Very on brand. No. And then it like clipped to another one where I was like, watch this entire scene play out. Watch the escalation of the scene. So this kid is walking from the kitchen who got like a snack. And there's one cat just standing there, and it kind of like goes in front of me. He didn't see it because it came around the corner, and he kind of like kicked the cat. Like not like really kicked it hard, but like
hit it.
He just kind of tripped over the cat. Mm-hmm. Well, another cat saw it.
Yeah.
And that cat starts chasing the kid and like latches onto the kid's leg.
I've seen that.
Right,
one.
and the kid's screaming and hollering.
The kid was freaking out.
And then the dog comes in after the cat.
Yeah.
Right, and the cat jumps off, and because the dog's defending the kid, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, rah, 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 rah. And so the cat jumps off and like leaves, and then the dog's like standing there, and then all of a sudden the other cat jumps on the dog. It was just like just this utter like pandemonium moment, and this kid's like, I'm never getting a snack again.
How are you going to defend that behavior?
The kid probably did something wrong.
There we go.
That kid probably was
ridiculous.
a jerk.
It's ridiculous. So, all right, guys, that's it. We're not going to talk about cats anymore. So hopefully you guys got something. I hope you appreciated that.
Patreon.
Yeah. So be aware over the next few weeks. We got several things going on March 1st, right, Lauren? March 1st, we have
March 1st, we have a very informative recovery clinic. So we had our very successful doubles clinic recently. Mm-hmm. So we're actually going to be doing a recovery clinic, doing all sorts of recovery techniques, going over different tools, stretches, just different ways to recover your body. And it's all going to be brought to you by Roll Recovery. Really excited to be partnering with them for this clinic.
And then we'll also be offering some free 10-minute stretch and restore sessions that day, but there are limited spots. So if you're interested, if you sign up for the clinic, you can get in on those same day. But you'll have to sign up for them because, like I said, there's very limited spots on that because we only have so much time in the clinic. And so once they're signed up for, you can watch and see what you can get next time.
Yeah, Don Carlito and James are going to get their hands all over people.
Not like that. So, and then we'll be doing a shakeout run right before High Rocks Houston, Friday before. So that'll be a great time as well. So we'll meet up at Discovery Green at 6 p.m. And we'll be just doing a nice, easy shakeout run, getting ready for race weekend. And it's going to be a good time. I'm excited about it. We're going to have I want us to represent, guys. I feel like we're going to represent.
We need a big crowd out there.
Yep. We got tattoos. We got new race gear.
Jerseys.
It's gonna be fire, man. I'm excited.
You're gonna see the BC crowd in High Rocks, that's for sure.
I'm expecting everyone to do so well, and so many new racers, so many next level racers. I see gains for days. I'm excited about this race. This may be the most excited I've been for an event. It's on our home turf. Like we're gonna have the biggest crowd we've ever had.
Huge crowd.
It's a long day event or 2-day event, right? We're gonna be judging. We're gonna be BC will be volunteering on the sandbag lunges Saturday morning. So we'll have that whole station to ourselves. And make
sure that knee hits the ground.
Yeah, we gonna be.
I'm gonna say
no rep.
Take
it back.
If we're volunteering and we see any of our own athletes come through and it is not perfection, you're going to hear about it later.
We're going to be equal opportunity. Everybody's going to meet the standard.
Everyone's going to get it, but
because we want to make sure we don't want these CrossFit people coming in here telling us we don't do the standards.
We're going to be encouraging, though.
Oh, yeah. We're going to hype you up.
All the love.
We're going to hype you up. So we hope to see you there, guys. If you haven't signed up yet, it's too late. It's sold out. You ain't getting in. So just come show out. Come hang out with us. We'd love to see you. You can be part of our crew. We'll be spotted up in several different areas. But it's going to be a great thing. Just to come spectate is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, get a spectator ticket if you haven't already gotten one, just to make sure
because that will probably sell out as well.
They do sell out. Those have gotten to where they do sell out. So I would go ahead and buy a spectator ticket. They're not expensive. Just buy one.
Yep.
And, Saturday or Sunday, come have a good time. Check out all them awesome athletes.
Yep. So, Carlos, thank you for coming.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being that third wheel to bring in that balance. Right?
I don't know if it's balanced because it's 2-1, but okay.
Yeah, but you have so much womanhood in you that we need 2 men just to balance it out. That's how strong of a woman.
I'm so much
you
independent
are. Too much woman to handle. Too much woman to handle.
A stretch, but okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Take the compliment, Lauren.
Take the compliment.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. Remember, as always, if you can change your mind,
you can change your life.
Peace.
Peace.
Change your mind, change your life.